This is Eugene Ryabchenko of Fleshgod Apocalypse, and you're watching Richard Metal Fan.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Richard Metal Fan Interviews. This is episode number 154. And today's guest, we're talking to Eugene Ryabchenko. He is a drummer from the Ukraine. He plays drums for Fleshgod Apocalypse, Banisher, Castrum, Aftergrund, and probably a plethora of other bands. Today we're going to be talking to him about what got him into metal, as well as going through his discography. So, without further ado, let's go talk to Eugene. So what's up, guys? I'm here with Eugene Ryabchenko from Fleshgod Apocalypse, Banisher, Afgrund, Castrum, and Locracy. So how are you doing today, man?
All good, all good. It's July, summer in Italy, nice and warm. I love
Awesome.
warm weather, so
Awesome.
I really enjoy it. Thank you.
Cool. So
What's
I
up?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a good, lovely, almost afternoon here in Georgia, where I'm at in the U.S. So I know you're originally from the Ukraine. So I'm guessing you moved to Italy for being in Fleshgod.
I didn't actually move here. I live in Vienna, Austria, and I'm here in Italy when we do some work together, like
Ah.
rehearsing and doing shows and whatnot. So but it's true that I'm spending right now, like let's say the majority of summer here because it's just like we don't have like big tours right now. It's just like every weekend is usually a show and a festival. So it's just more practical for me to stay here over the week, for like a couple of weeks or a month.
All right. And so kind of like the format is I want to talk about like your musical history and also do a rundown of your discography. So take me back to young Eugene. So kind of growing up, what were the first bands that got you into metal and what made you want to start playing drums?
Heavy music. Okay, let me think. Let me think. I guess like in the late 90s, um, I got an older brother who's also kind of a musician. He plays guitar. He's not very serious about music, but we did play together in some bands, and he was probably the main person who introduced me to heavier music. I grew up my parents listened to rock music, so it was like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and Deep Purple when I was very, very young. But then when I was getting into heavier stuff, it was my brother who introduced me to like Sepultura. Sepultura was probably the first like very, very heavy band. I even think discovered Sepultura before like Metallica or Slayer or anything like that. So it was like already a jump in the fire, but scary. So yeah, I said Sepultura, and then later Metallica. With when I was in school, there was like all the early 2000 new metal wave with Korn, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, and those kind of bands. And that was around like mid 2000s when I started participating in like let's say local bands with just friends jamming, and those were the bands and music that we were kind of aiming to do.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. And so from what I saw in Metal Archives, I believe the first band that I think you were in was Displease in 2009, 9, or was there any
No,
other bands before that?
no. That it's a bit wrong. I mean, like let's say with the somewhat of a solid discography. Symbios was the first one
All right.
actually, and that was 2000. Oof, maybe seven, if I recall correctly, like seven, August of seven, and that was it's like a punk hardcore band, pretty fast and aggressive. And I did a lot of shows with them. I've been with them for a few years, and basically, I even did my very first tour with them. I was 16, and I had to like we did like a 9 gig tour in Ukraine and Belarus. It was so cool. I was 16. I was like really a little kid, and I had to come up with excuses in school. Why am I skipping like 10 days of school? I couldn't tell them that I was going on tour, so I pretended that I was sick. And my grandmother, actually, she worked in the hospital, and she like forged some fake documents for me, from the doctor that I was actually sick so that I can go on tour. That was super cool.
That is
Yeah,
awesome,
so the
man.
Symbiotes was the first one, and yeah, the same Symbiotes guys, basically the guitar player of that band, together with me and back the bass player, formed Displease. So it was basically a side project. Displease was a side project of that, and Displease was more like crust punk and D beat, that kind of style music.
All right, is there like anything like online from like Displease or anything? I'm trying to look it up. I couldn't really find anything.
I maybe there should we recorded, I think, two EPs, if I'm not wrong, and each EP was like around 8 or 10 songs. I think so. Maybe we had like split records with some other bands. It was a long time ago, and but I'm almost sure that it's possible to dig something up from those archives. It's like, punk D beat with some blast beats and aggressive fest, like kind of simple music, but fairly energetic and aggressive, so to say.
All right, and I guess the next band I want to talk about is Castrum. I know you joined in 2010. So how'd you get to hook up with those guys?
So, castrum is like castrum. Basically, it's a Latin word, castrum. So it's like which means like fortress, castle, because the band always had lyrics revolving around like medieval kind of themes and castles, whatnot. Obviously. So it's a very old band actually. It's like in our region in Ukraine where I'm from, it's considered to be they were like the pioneers of thrash death metal. I think they started like around 1994, if I'm not mistaken. I was like 2 years old when they already played.
Yeah,
So, and I basically like it's all local guys, and our Cornelius, he's like the main guy, the guitar player and the singer of the band. Like I knew him for a few years, I think back then, and he offered me to join the band, and it was like 2010. I was like 18, so that was basically my first death metal band. It was my proper introduction to death metal at that age with those guys, and Cornelius, and then later Victor, the bass player. So that's three. It's three people, just like it's a small band. And those two guys, they were much older than I was. So I was 18, they were like 35, 36, so like twice my age. And basically they kind of raised me as a kid at the age of 18, 19, getting into the old school death metal and all the old bands and everything starting from it was like starting with them. So, and we're still like it's been like 13, no, it's 13, yeah, 13 years ever since I joined. We recorded an album, but it was never released, even until now. And we did play a lot of gigs. We did a one like smaller tour, and mostly we played shows and festivals in Ukraine or abroad, like close by in Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, and Czech Republic and whatnot. But those guys like are my like second family. They raised me as a death metal kid, so I'm very thankful for everything that I am right now. Basically became thanks to them.
awesome. And will that album ever see the light of day?
We don't know if the guys are watching this interview. I am asking them the same question. So, yeah, it's been a while since actually we talked. So, I don't know because I recorded that album, if I'm not mistaken, in October 2010. So my drumming on that album is 13 years old. So it's very like nothing what I can do right now. I mean, like in comparison. So, and yeah, I don't know. Well, it would be cool, but we can
Yeah,
never know.
yeah. And I noticed like during also you did a Gaz 66 intrusion. I know in
Mhm.
2011 you did the sort of like a split with a little two side thing called Death with
Mhm.
Power Without Violence and Death Tomorrow. Tell me about like that.
Death Tomorrow, no. Death Tomorrow, that's wrong. Death Tomorrow was done by the previous guy who was in that band, whose name is also Eugene, by the way.
Oh,
He's actually like a good friend of mine and a great drummer, also like from the local scene. He used to play drums in Castrum actually before me, and then he played in Gas before me, and then now actually later he started playing in Displease after me. So and in Symbios as well. So it's like it's all fine. So yeah, it's a small town, And the Death Tomorrow, no, I did not record that. I recorded the Power Without Violence, and I think there was another one that was released. I just really, really don't remember. And it's like that band was probably the most extreme that I was part of at that time. It was like fastcore, power violence, grindcore, like super crazy stuff. Very short songs. It's like 1 minute for a song was like already considered to be too long, So, and it's like super, yeah, super chaotic. And I basically like partially, my participation in that band was like for me a very useful, let's say, practice and training to improve my skills in terms of blast speeds and speed and endurance in general, So like I was very hyped for that opportunity. It was cool. And those are also like nice people. Like the bass player of Gas was the same bass player from Displease and Symbiote, so that's like it's all connected.
All right, and I know it's also in 2013 then you did the Halt EP with Gaz 66 Intrusion. Tell me about like that.
Yeah, that was all done. Like honestly, like I don't remember that much about those times, because like we were basically just like, writing six, seven, eight songs, whatever, in literally in 1 week, going to the studio, recording it, and that's all. And I think with Gas, I played only a handful of shows, like maybe not more than 5 gigs, and all of those shows were, I think, in our hometown. I don't recall if I ever played somewhere out of town with them. Yeah, so.
All right, and hard to believe it's been 10 years since that EP. So how do you feel about it now a decade later?
Oh, it's been a while since I listened to it, so I really don't know. And I don't even remember. Like, I remember like that was with Displease. I think a few years ago, I accidentally stumbled upon one of the EPs on my old hard drive, like the final mix, and I just like, wow, holy shit, this is nostalgic. Let me see. And I was like, wow, and I didn't even remember half of the songs. It was cool. It's just like yeah, interesting. Like excavating some artifact from some ancient ruins, so to say.
All right. And then I know in 2015 you joined Afgrund. Run, tell me about
Mhm.
that because I know they've been around for a long time, but I know you joined in 2015, and that's more kind of
Yeah,
like
well,
grindcore punk.
yeah, that was a rather, let's say, short collaboration or short existence, like in part in my career, because we only did, I think, 3 or 4 gigs overall. We started working on new material, and then none of that happened eventually. So I was not even in touch with the guys for a very long time, because like that band is originally from Sweden. And then the bass player currently, like back then, the bass player, he's an Italian guy. The singer is from Austria. It was all like mixed up in international things. So yeah, it's been a while since. I would love to meet them and see what they're doing. But no, it's we haven't been doing anything ever since. It was like a short thing. So
Oh wow.
unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know you also do some session work because I know in 2016 you recorded drums for Anger Seed for their album The Proclamation, and I've checked that out. It kind of reminds you a lot of like Sinister and Benediction, like that old school kind of like European death metal.
Yeah, those guys are super cool. They're good friends of mine. Basically, like I got to know them through Castrum because they're Hungarian, so they just lived abroad. Like it's just across the border in Hungary, very close. And we often played in Hungary with Castrum together with them, and they came to Ukraine to play with us. So we kind of knew each other, and then they asked me to. First, I filled in and I did a few shows, festivals, and then they asked me to record the album. Super cool, like very good guys, good friends of mine. Always like when I think of about the times that we had, it was just like good memories. We traveled uh like a fair amount. For me that was like a lot of traveling. We did like Romania, Czech Republic, Slovakia, maybe Poland. I'm not sure about Poland, but yeah, those guys. And that was like extreme. That was like getting really into the extreme kind of drumming. So for me that was like 250, 260, 270 blast beats. That was like a whole new level, and once
Damn.
again, I was already like very excited for the chance to work in a band, to try myself out as an extreme drummer, to see what it is, how can I handle those tempos, those crazy blasts and double bass in a live situation with a band playing festivals and stuff like this. So that was I knew like I was stepping up my game. So that was a very important, let's say, part of my career, so to say.
All right, and I know you also in 2016 you joined up with the Waldshred. Shred, it was kind of more of a black metal band from Austria. Tell me about that because it's just I check out some of their stuff and it's just very evil sounding. And of course, me being a black metal fan, it's just amazing.
Yeah, Waldschrat. Yeah, Waldschrat is mostly they're not from Vienna, but I think they're from the surrounding area of Vienna. So basically all local. Since I now live in Vienna, I say that they're all from the hometown. We did I don't recall. I don't think I recorded anything with them. I don't think we did any studio work. We played only a handful of shows and festivals. That was also like a short time. We played the Kaltenbach Festival, which is a very nice festival, not far from Vienna. That's always takes place in August in the mountains on a skiing resort. And then we played Germany, Netherlands, a few like very kind of small gigs, and that was it basically.
Yeah, and I know you do some live stuff. I know you play drums live for like Belphegor and Decapitated, and I know you also were in the band Posthumous Blasphemer at one point. So
Mhm.
tell me about like playing with the live with those guys.
Well, which one can I start with? Because there's like a lot that I can talk about. Basically, my first kind of big breakthrough was with Vital Remains. That was in 2016.
Yeah,
So 2016 and 17, and I did three big tours with them. It was like a game changer and like insane experience for me. Actually, like that was like the first band that I went on a big tour with in a nightliner, and it was like 20, no, it was 18 shows in a row and no days off. And then we had some shows in Spain, and then we flew to Mexico, and that was my first time ever overseas. So we played some festivals in Mexico and whatnot. Then we did South America with Vital Remains. That was 2017, Central and South America, and we did European festivals in August 2017. The Vital Remains stuff, is it actually on Metal Archives or not? Because I'm just
yeah,
curious that you didn't mention it.
yeah. Fuck it, it actually is. You did live stuff from
Ah,
2016 to
okay.
2017.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that was like the first big thing. Then 2018 and 19 was Belfagor, and that was like super busy 2 years, like almost nonstop stuff, like very big festivals and big tours, and that was very cool and challenging as well. Like one of the most challenging things that I've done back then at that time. Yes, the most challenging for sure. And Decapitated is like awesome. I love their music. They're very cool guys.
Yeah.
And I for Decapitated, I was just helping them out very briefly. They asked me in 2019, and I did, I think, 11 shows, and we did mostly festivals like France, Germany, Poland, and we did a small tour in Japan. And that was the Japan tour with Decapitated. That was one of the coolest trips that I've done. No need to say that the musicians in Decapitated are like on such a high level, that I had absolutely no clue what's going on and what they're asking me to do. They were like, I'm trying to play the parts, like, and the Decapitated stuff, it was super funny because the Decapitated stuff out of like all the bands that I've done session work for recently, Decapitated was the slowest, so it's like 200, their fastest song was like 210, 220. And for me, that was like, oh, it's like painfully slow in comparison to Vital Remains or Belphegor. So and those slow songs that I'm trying to play, and they're like, yeah, Eugene, like we don't care about your blast beats and fast shit. Like we need the groove, we need to feel the music. And I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about. And then like we tried to play some like super slow stuff, even half tempo, and they're like, yeah, delaying the snare, like bam, bam, and stuff. So like I was in my like we were before the first show with Decapitated, we rehearsed for 5 days in a row, and we did like maybe 3 4 hours of rehearsing every day. And those 5 days I kind of learned more about music and drums than in 10 years of my entire career. So that
Mm.
was like, and was very cool. Yeah, with Belfagor, we traveled a lot. We did also Australia and New Zealand. We
Mm,
did North America. We
yeah.
did a lot of European stuff as well.
Yeah, was it that
Yeah.
North America tour, that tour you did, that Devastation tour you did with the Dark Funeral?
No, not that one. That's the only one that I didn't do in 2019.
Oh,
They did two US tours. The one with Dark Funeral, I didn't do it. They had a different guy,
yeah.
and I did the one that was later that year. That was with Suffocation. So the Suffocation
Wow.
Belfagor was the US tour that I did. It was, if I recall correctly, October, November 2019. Yes.
Oh, oh, damn! I don't think that came near me because I only saw Belfagor on that Funeral tour. That was the only time I've seen Belfagor.
Yeah, that was the only time that I didn't play.
Oh yeah, but yeah, kind of also talking a little bit about "Crucify Me Gently." I forgot to add that into the
Oh,
list
okay.
of questions. I'm always curious about that. I couldn't find anything about that.
Yeah, there's like a it's the kind of a like a deathcore band. They do incorporate a lot of also black metal elements. And those are like just local people from once again my hometown and the nearby area. Good friends of mine, super cool people. And that was also like I was never really their drummer. I was like I couldn't even qualify as their session drummer because we did one show together in our hometown. That's all. I We filmed one video clip, which was awesome, on like next to like a kind of a lake and a quarry in our hometown. And then I recorded a three-song EP, out of which I think only one was released, one song. And there's a drum cam from the studio when I was recording it. You can check it on my YouTube channel. But that's it. And they're cool people, my good friends. And but I don't think they are musically active. I don't think they even play anymore. So everybody's busy with their own stuff. So that's it.
Yeah, and then of course I think you eventually joined up with a Fleshgod Apocalypse, and I know you also did Banisher that year. So first thing is, how did you end up hooking up with the Francesco and all the God people?
We were doing a festival in Slovakia with Balfagor, and I basically accidentally ran into Francesco in the hotel lobby. So, I mean, like, we spoke before that online briefly. He knew who I was. I knew who he was, obviously. And we just bumped into each other, and it was like, yeah, that was like July 2019. And then shortly, like I think maybe 2, 3 weeks after that accidental confrontation, he offered me to join the band. And then I joined later. I joined much later. I joined in 2020, because I wanted to finish all my let's say remaining duties with Belfagor. I wanted to finish the year that was 2019, all the gigs and whatnot. And I said, okay, from 2020, like I'm gonna clear my schedule and I'm gonna play for Fleshgod. And then like basically I joined 2020, February, March, and phew, the pandemic canceled everything. And basically it's been like February since I joined them, and like literally in 3+ years, we didn't do too much, honestly. Like we did a few big tours now recently,
Yeah.
but the first year or almost 2 years, it was almost nothing, no activity. Well, I mean, for all the bands in the world anyway. So, but yeah, it was just like a bit unusual, because for me, it's weird. Like if I count the time, the years, the months, it's more than 3 years. And to me, still, some of these things are super fresh, as if that was just like a year ago.
All right. And kind of want to talk about like some of those couples. I know you only did like the recorded so far 3 songs with Fleshgod. I'd like to talk about "The Day Will Be Gone," which is I
Yeah.
think is a great song. Tell me about like that.
Yeah, well, they had the song was already featured on the last released album, Veleno, in 2019, and they basically wanted to record like an full acoustic version of it, and that was like I was playing the cajon and the shaker, and this is this was I recall Francesca actually even told me this, I think 2 or 3 days ago. he said like, "Oh yeah, Eugene, like the people maybe know your work from like Belphegor and Vital Remains, that you're like this fast extreme guy, and we ask you to play for Fleshgod, and everybody's like, oh yeah, Eugene is gonna play the blast beats and all this crazy stuff, and then the first thing that we released together is me just playing the shake, and everybody's like laughing as if this was a joke. So that was super cool. Yeah, we had the chance to shoot the video and record everything for that song in a Bloom studio that's like a super top-notch studio in Rome where a lot of like big Italian celebrities record stuff. So that was a cool experience.
Yeah, and I also so in that same year you did the song "No," and I think that's a fucking brutal song, probably like one of
Thank
the
you.
heaviest Fleshgod songs to date.
Slow, actually one of the slowest that we play live,
Yeah,
ironically. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and funny enough, I actually had interviewed Veronica a while back. I was just jokingly saying like you should have a song called "Yes" next,
Maybe, who knows? Maybe we're
or
gonna have
or
it.
or probably
You
maybe,
can never know.
and after that maybe. So be like yes, no, maybe
Maybe.
so.
Yes, no, maybe. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna play them in that order.
yeah. And I also love how you covered Eiffel 65's "Blue Dabba Dee." I think that's a great song. It almost kind of like made it like your own in a way. Okay, what made you guys decide to cover
Yeah,
that song in particular?
that I actually, it's a good question. Most likely you need to redirect it to Francesco, but I do recall, because it was obviously his idea, but I do recall they used to do a lot of covers in the past. I think like in almost every album that they released, they had something. And they had like At the Gates, they had like
Yeah,
Rammstein and whatnot. And there was always like great music, serious, let's say, covers, that they were taking it seriously. And this Blue, I mean, if you know the original song, you can guess that like there's a little bit of humor going on, when you put the blast beats in that pop song. So,
yeah,
and that's why like it was the idea, like how about we're not gonna do stuff seriously, but now we're gonna just make the song a bit of a joke, but with style. So it's not just fooling around mindlessly, but it's like it's done with taste, in my opinion. So.
yeah. Yeah, that's a really great song, and no, and speaking of God, have you all started like ideas for the next album? Like, what's the status with that?
Work in progress. I cannot share that much, to be honest, but hopefully everything's gonna work out, and we're gonna start recording it at some point in the near future, and then who knows? I really don't know, honestly, with like all the deadlines, and the pressure, because it's a really complicated matter, and I am not honestly involved in this that much, especially with the, like, let's say, the logistics and the labels and the recording and whatnot. So I wish I could tell you more, but I can't. So,
All right,
but I'm gonna, like, if it's gonna all depend on me on, delivering drums, then I promise I'm gonna do my best not to disappoint anybody.
all right. And kind of one thing, I'm also kind of backtracking a little bit because I forgot to also talk about Locracy because I know 2019 you did the Black Goddess EP. Tell me about like
Hmm.
how'd that come to be?
Mhm. Yeah, those guys. So the Leprosy guys are all Viennese. So we're all friends in Vienna, and that's like another kind of a hometown project. We play mostly shows in Vienna. We did one show in Graz, which is like the town nearby in Austria. And we released one EP. I already recorded the second one, but it's still in works. It's like another three songs. And it was always like that band is kind of a bunch of friends getting together to have a good time, just jam and maybe play some songs. And every once in a while we do one gig. That's it. That project, because all the other guys in the band, they have their own bands. Like our guitar player Jack, he's a professional musician. He's a very good guitar player. He plays like rock and blues and jazz and whatnot. So he's the educated guy in the band. We're all kids from the street. And then other guys also, Dominic, the second guitar player, also has some other bands that he's part of. So everybody's like always busy, and I am busy as well. I'm always abroad traveling, so like when we have time once a year, we get together, either for a couple of beers or jam a bit, but it's kind of rare. So it's more of a like a good friendship with a bit of music, so to say.
All right. And I know it's also in 2020 you did the Degrees of Desolation with Banisher. Sure, but I know you've joined in 2017, so tell me about like that.
Yeah, well, with the Punisher guys, I've been with them actually since 2016, and we did some small tours, and then I became a permanent member in 2017. We played some smaller festivals, like indoor festivals and shows in Poland and like in the neighboring countries. Then we recorded the Degrees of Isolation album in 20, when was recorded in October 2018, was released early 2020. And then we recorded a couple of few other singles that were released just actually now. There was
Yeah,
one single that was released a month ago, Born to Die, and another one that was released before it called Aftermath. So those were like those two songs are the most fresh stuff that we have. So
right.
they're guys from Poland, and the guitar player from Venture, Hubert, he used to play bass in Decapitated. So he was playing bass for I think 5 years in Decapitated, and the time that I was playing in Decapitated, Hubert was also there, obviously. So like we were playing in Banisher, he was playing guitar in Banisher, and in Decapitated he was doing bass and I was doing drums briefly. So and like all the shows that I did with Decapitated, including Japan, was together with Hubert as well from Banisher. So
All
that was like
right.
good times. That was like super cool, the best, because it's like when good friends are. Uh, like have the chance to, let's say, join the same band and work together, like outside friendship, you still like your colleague. That's even cooler.
Awesome. And then also in 2021 you joined you did like some more session work with Men in Metal, and you did this album in 2021, and I don't even know how to say it in English.
I don't even remember the name of that, to be honest. That was just like one of the very many studio projects I was asked to record, because I recall that was, I think, I'm not sure if that's a one-man project or not. There are a couple of one-man bands that I was asked to do drums for, and the pre-pandemic and during the pandemic, those years, I did a lot of stuff that I honestly I don't have that much memory of. So, but this Russian thing was like a heavy metal, power metal, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I know the last thing that's listed that you've actually did, which came out last month, which was Burial Hordes. You did their track drums for their album Ruin. So what was
Oh,
that like?
uh-huh. That was just like also like another session job. I think when was that? What I was recording it like September last year or the September before that. I do recall I got asked to do an album, but I think there are actually many more albums and releases that I did which are not even listed there on Metal Archive. So
Yeah, Metal
and
Archive
there and
seems to
there are
get their
more
shit
upcoming
together.
stuff that I also already recorded that's still not released. Yeah, yeah, no, I'm not saying like that to criticize anybody, but anyway, but that's it's still pretty on point, because like even some of the stuff that's in there, even I don't remember it. So thank you very much for keeping an eye on history, so
Awesome.
to say.
And kind of like one more thing I wanted to ask about to sort of wrap things up is talk about like your drum gear. I'm always curious like what kind of like drums that you use, like cymbals, pedals, and sticks and stuff.
All the information regarding my equipment, you can find it on all my social media profiles: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Patreon as well. I always try to do my best to actively promote all the brands that I am collaborating with on pictures and videos. So almost every time that I film something, record something, post, I usually list the equipment, sometimes in much detail, sometimes in less detail. But I had a deal. Let's start with pedals. With pedals, I had a deal with Axis pedals in 2016 till 2019. So like 3 years with Axis. Then from Axis, I switched to the Polish Czarchikopyta. And with Czarchikopyta, I've been since October 2019 till now. No complaints. Still the same pedal. Works as a charm. Very good. Very happy with it. Super reliable. Very heavy, very heavy and indestructible. I'm pretty sure that that pedal is gonna still live on 1 or 200 years after my death. As if nothing happens. So then I have a deal with Foot Blaster Triggers, which is an Italian brand. It's built-in triggers that you mount on the pedal instead of mounting it on the kick drum. And I am that's since January 2019, if I recall correctly. Paiste cymbals, love Paiste cymbals. I absolutely love the people, the service, the treatment, all the artist relationship management, like all the stuff that they do is super cool. They're very reliable when it comes to like answering emails and helping out last minute. It was like on multiple occasions I had trouble like cracking a cymbal before studio or before tour. Just like this, the replacement comes in a few days. Like very this is very cool and this is very important. Often this is more important than, let's say, the quality of the product itself in a way. Because if you're breaking gear, losing gear, whatnot, you need to always make sure that they can help you out. So Paiste, I've been with Paiste since 2017, early 17. I think maybe something like January or February 17, if I recall correctly. Vader drumsticks, also 2017-ish, beginning of 2017. I was using the Vader 2B, and then I switched to Vader Shatter Hickory, which is like almost identical to 2B, but a little bit thicker. And now I'm experimenting actually also a little bit, and I'm going back and forth between the 2B and the Shatter. And the most recent one that I have is Pearl drums. And I became a Pearl artist a year ago. So that
Wow.
was, if I recall, June 2022, exactly a year ago, like more or less a year ago. And we got a new Pearl drum kit for Fleshgod, which is a Pearl Masters Maple Complete in caviar black matte finish. So like I really, really love the finish. It's not this kind of a reflecting piano black, but the matte finish. Uh 10, 12, 16 toms and 20 inch kicks. I have small kicks and I really, really, really dig them. So I am using the Pearl with Flash God for a year now. So we do it all at the festivals and the European tours.
Awesome. And so kind of in the end, to wrap things up, what's next for you and like Flesh God and all the other bands? Is there anything else you would like to plug to wrap this up?
Well, the other bands and projects, honestly, not super active with anything else, but with Fleshgod, obviously, yes. Right now it's summer. We're playing. We have still a lot of festivals announced for summer with Fleshgod. Just like literally, what today's Tuesday. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tuesday. So the day before yesterday, 2 days ago, we played a festival with Pantera. So it was like
Okay.
Pantera, Creator, Elegant Weapons, Coroner, Flesh God, and some others. That was supposed to be Behemoth, but they didn't make it, unfortunately. It was a huge thing here in Italy, like open air, 1 day open air festival. And it was like, I think they had something like 18,000 tickets sold, something like this. It was like a lot of people. It was like super crowded, like insane. And it was very cool. It was very hot, obviously, like July in Italy, open air festival, and we played like at 2 p.m. That was tough,
Oh shit.
so like super dehydrated. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so like that was a big highlight this summer for sure. And we still have a lot of festivals till September, and then hopefully we're gonna do maybe some tours. And then next year is already looking busy. So we don't have anything announced yet, but a lot of things are in works, of course. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. So everybody, Eugene from Flesh God, we'll see you next time.